Welcome to Frontline Focus, the podcast where we bring you inside RevForce, sharing stories, insights, real-life experiences of our team members who are out there making an impact every day. I'm your host, Chantel, aka TechDiva, and today we're chatting with Mark, our Senior Project Manager. We're going to hear a little bit about his journey, his role here at RevForce, and how he contributes to this amazing company. Let's dive in. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this. I know we've rescheduled a couple of times, so it's great to finally have you on actually doing this for once.
Yeah, we'll get it done. That's great. I'm really happy to be here.
That's awesome. So let's start off real quick. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background and how did you find your way to RevForce?
Yeah, so again, born and raised in New Jersey, so you'll have to forgive I don't think it's that thick, but my New Jersey accent. So yeah, here my entire life. Actually, I've been in the IT field for a little over 25 years. I started as a developer, worked my way up to project manager, and then kind of took a few different paths throughout my career. I worked as a certified Six Sigma black belt, so did a lot of statistical analysis, a lot of process improvement, process analysis. Also was a Scrum Master using lean and agile principles to lead teams, developing different types of solutions for our internal as well as external customers. Unfortunately, in 2023, though, I was let go from my corporate gig, and I was really, I hadn't realized it at the time, but I was at a crossroads in my career. I'd been doing that kind of work for quite some time, and I wasn't. It was exciting work, but it was still kind of leaving me a little bit unfulfilled. I mean, I'd had some things in my career, that certain standards, I should say, of organizations I would not work for. I wouldn't work for tobacco company or things that were kind of detrimental that I felt to us as a society.
Yeah.
So I was at a healthcare organization, and as I said, I was the victim of downsizing. And I kept in touch with many of my colleagues there, and one of them, our own Mary Alice Silverthorne.
Yeah, Mary Alice.
Yeah. She contacted me, and we just got to talking, and she said, I've got a couple of friends that I'm kind of working with, on the side here, and I think you might be a good fit, and maybe it might be something interesting to you. So she introduced me to both Jazz and Mike Gorski, the owners, co-founders of RevCorp, and we really hit it off. And there was what I think an opportunity or a space that I could fill with some of my skill sets. And I've been working with the organization for nearly a year now. But
Yeah.
it seems it's gone by almost instantly. So that's kind of how I found my way to your doorstep through our colleague here, our common colleague, and it's been just really fantastic.
Yeah, I know that we've been so excited to have you on board. It's been a completely different shift when you have someone that understands organization, understands project management. I know our team has been so grateful and so blessed to have you on board. So that is awesome. Great story. I know I knew a little bit of it, but it's nice to have like the full picture for sure. So next question, how do you contribute to the success of the clients that we have?
Yeah, so working with the different, what I found to be different types of clients from all different types of backgrounds, right? So different types of businesses. The one thing that I really took from the corporate world that's kind of paramount to the way I conduct things is time is a very precious commodity. People are always double and triple booked in the corporate world, especially for meetings. I mean, you had to get in, get out. There was really not a lot of time to make some small talk, so to speak. If you've got 30 minutes, you've got 30 minutes, and you have to get done what you need to get done there. Mm-hmm. I can talk. I can sometimes have run out of the mouth, but I've always tried to be a little more economical. But I've taken that approach to the clients, and I think one of the benefits that I have with my experience is that I can kind of tease out and get to the heart of if it's a pain point or an issue that they're experiencing, or maybe even it's something they're not quite sure what it is. They need a solution. It might be a change to their future state of what they're using, maybe some additional tools. But I can kind of tease that out pretty quickly just based on conversation and asking some really probing types of questions, not so much open-ended all the time, but really just looking for really specific information. And so once you start to get that idea of what people are looking for, then it becomes a lot easier to understand. Okay, so they kind of sort of don't know what they want in terms of technology, but they know what they want to do in layman's terms, right? And so that kind of brings me to another piece of where I was also functioned as a trainer for many, many years, a virtual trainer, I should say. And so being able to read that virtual room, so to speak, is a real skill. You know, if you're prattling on for 25 minutes and you don't hear a peep, you probably lost some people, because I'm not that interesting, and probably the information that I was conveying is not that interesting either. So you really have to be able to read the room and understand, everything I'm saying, is it kind of going over their heads, or are they just really, just really interested in what I'm saying? So I really do have a way of conveying information to people in a language that they can understand, right? So one of my previous gigs, I worked with a lot of senior folks, a lot of folks older than myself. I'm not quite farting dust yet, but I am getting close. And so, you have to figure out, these people are, they're working in a business that they probably understand very well. They're comfortable with, in terms of, maybe using pen and paper, but now you're introducing technology, and it could be a real challenge for them. And so being able to explain what I am there to do for and with them, in terms that they can understand, and maybe draw some parallels to some things in their world that makes sense. Again, I find that's a real value that I bring to the table, in terms of the different types of clients. As I said, they come from all different walks of life. Some people are very technically adept, and that's great. We can have that conversation. Others they've got the deer in the headlights. Look, what's an IP address? What are DNS records? I don't know what that stuff is.
Yeah, we say it all the time, that being in this industry, you have to learn to speak another language. So we have to, in turn, know how to speak a different language, but also know how to interpret that to our clients. You do that.
That's right.
Yeah. You've always been really relatable, so I can definitely see that. That's a positive to our clients for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I want to keep it going here. How do you keep growing in your skill set, Mark? How do you stay inspired in your role?
Yeah. So again, as I said, I was at a crossroads in terms of my career. I consider myself a lifelong learner, whether it's in my personal or professional life. I really do like to learn. I think it keeps your mind sharp. I think it's great to keep you very relevant also, right? You don't want to be the last buggy whip maker in the world, right? Making buggy whips when there's no more horse and buggy. Now what do we do? So I do like to continue learning, and I think just that natural curiosity is really what draws me in. And I think I always have that, I forget the acronym, but it's like fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be left. Yeah, FOMO. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be left by the side of the road. I'd like to consider myself somewhat cool and up to date and knowledgeable about things. And it really bothers me if I'm in a conversation, especially around technology. Forget about authors or music or any other thing that I'm interested in, specifically technology, because that's my bread and butter. That I don't understand what's going on. I kind of experienced that a little bit, but it was more on a social level, in terms of the social platforms for dating and things like that. I won't get into that history, but I was out of the dating world when all that stuff was happening, the different apps and stuff. So I could kind of look at it, sort of with interest. It was nothing that I wanted to get involved with at the time, though. But again, I kind of missed the boat on that one, and I kind of wish I knew more about how some of that stuff worked, and the building blocks of how it was acceptable and how it caught on so rapidly. So
quickly, yeah.
So the short answer is, really, like I said, I always like to continue learning. I don't want to be that.
No, and actually, I think you're on the running board for most certifications of our team members, right? I'm pretty sure you've surpassed all of us in certifications. That's for sure. I know our readers and our listeners would definitely like to hear that, like, you're A2P certified, certified,
Yeah.
obviously high level certified. That's awesome.
And now they have the new the HIPAA certification. Well, it's been out a little ways, but I
Yeah, you're
haven't
just
had.
grinding at the bit to get that one, aren't you?
I'm chopping and get going at that one. I really do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly, you are a very dedicated student. I think that is such a valuable thing to have, especially on our team.
Might get a gold star.
So, tell a little bit more personal take here. Describe a favorite work memory or a project that you're really proud of.
A favorite work memory. Yeah, I can. Again, I've been blessed with a very long career. I've had some really incredible highlights. Like I said, in the corporate world. But I can remember, as I kind of alluded to earlier, I worked for an organization that um, most of their subscribers were older folks, and I was, I would, all my appointments would come through a calendar. I opened this calendar up, I opened the call, and I see this lovely woman from down. I think she was from Missouri or Mississippi. I forget. Lovely woman, starting her business, and she was completely clueless with the technology. And it was one of those things where you start having that conversation with her, and she said, I don't know what you're talking about. And so it was really, I'm not ashamed to say it. I actually spoke to her the way I would my mom. My mom was not, was not very technically adept as well. She could look up her specific videos, but that was, for her favorite, singer.
Mhm.
And that was about the size of it. But this woman truly, I mean, she was starting from ground zero. She didn't have the slightest idea what was going on. And so I was very reassuring with her, and I said, listen, we're gonna get all this taken care of for you. I'm gonna do all this heavy lifting, this ditch digging. We're gonna get you this up and running to support your business. And I would give her different examples, as I said, knowing your audience, right? So telling
Yeah.
her, when a carpenter needs a tool, right, he picks up or she picks up an electric saw and
Mhm.
uses it, cuts that piece of it, doesn't care how it works, it just works for them.
Yeah.
And after probably I got to say our fourth or fifth session, and typically it only take 2 sessions, she was set up, and she was so grateful for the work. And I did put in a lot of extra stuff, but I didn't mind, because I knew I was fulfilling someone's dream of, starting their business from that aspect of it, right? I could help out there. And just seeing her face, and the sincerity in her thanking me, and she wrote me a beautiful email, blessing me and all this other very nice things. I'm just, just very taken with it. It was just so enjoyable to see that I made a difference in someone's life at that point, to be able to fulfill that role. So that's kind of one that really sticks out for me, again, because in the corporate world, you do a lot of work that kind of goes out into the void.
Mhm.
I mean, I used to work for Western Union, you see updates made to a system, and, oh yeah, I did that. I was part of that, that form that we redid. And that's cool, but you don't really understand what kind of impact it has. But when you work with someone in a smaller or medium-sized business, with what we specialize in, it really is a really exciting time to see the results of your work, and how appreciative people are. So that's a good one for me.
Yeah. And you know what? Those stories, the moments that we can actually help our clients and just transform their lives just by having the skill set we have and just applying it.
Yeah,
Such a rewarding thing to
yeah,
walk away from a client and just be like, I helped them. And it might not be as much work on my end because I know the software, but to them,
right,
it's the biggest deal in the world, because
yeah,
they're never going to be able to take the amount of knowledge we have and compact it down quick enough in order to achieve the same result, right?
right. And quite frankly, that's not that's not something they want to do. They're running their businesses,
Yeah.
whatever that business may be. If it's a a chiropractic or a dentist or whatever, their role is not to learn that software intimately. They're supposed to use it, but that's where we come in, is to help out and bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing we say as a team all the time is let them be the talent so we can be the tech, right?
There we
Let
go.
let
Exactly.
them run their business for sure.
Exactly.
So, getting a little bit more personal, how are you winding down after a long day?
Uh That's a good one. So I'll give you the. No, I'm not even going to clown around. I'll give you the PG version.
Okay.
So in another lifetime, I was a semi-pro musician. I was a drummer,
That's awesome.
and I say was. Well, I still am. Yeah. So I would, before I made some decisions professionally, I was, I was a musician, and I played with a lot of different acts and a lot of different, situations and things like that, various styles of music.
Mhm.
And I put that down to a certain extent. Started a family, had a career change. Had, just the road kind of, took some twists and turns,
As it does, yeah.
as it does, right? But I found myself back to really missing the opportunity to be creative and not only make music, again, as a lifelong learner, right? So trying to keep my that muscle memory in terms of doing what I used to know how to do, make music, but to continue learning, and more importantly, to perform live music. Um, that's always been a really big part. I always would tell younger musicians, it's great to be in your bedroom, and once you count to four, you can start a band, or you do all these rudiments. That's great, but playing with live performers, live other players in front of an audience, that's the thing that really gets me. I've been involved with New York University as their pipe sergeant for a number of years, and being in front of 15, 20,000 people at Yankee Stadium for the NYU commencements. I mean, that's right up my alley. That's exactly what I would hope to be at some point. But I also work with a group of guys that we're all parents. We're married, so we only play out maybe once a quarter, but we get together almost every other week, and we still play. And in my mind, I'm on stage in front of 20,000 people at some point, instead of the little local bar where there might be 100 people. But
Yeah.
it scratches that itch, and so it just really helps me to just let all that tension and all that stuff go, and it works another part of my mind. And so it's really it's inspiring, and it keeps that creative side of me really going, so to speak, to nurture it.
So what you're saying is we're gonna have a video of you playing the drums for us, and our viewers can see it on our social media streams at some
Yeah.
point, right?
Yep, you can see me walking around the warning track on Yankee Stadium, and maybe even in a smoke filled. No, they don't have smoke filled bars anymore, but a pub where people are gathering, and it's just a lot of fun. It really is.
That'll
It's
be
just
cool.
yeah.
I'm sure we're all going to be looking forward to that. So, lastly, last question: if you had one message for our listeners, what would that be?
Let's see. One message. Well, I do have two daughters who are college age, and the one is graduating college this is her last semester, and my younger daughter's a sophomore at Pratt in Brooklyn. And throughout their academic careers, um, I've always told them, ask questions.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. I find there's been so many opportunities lost, or information that's been not correctly communicated or conveyed, or just so many situations that turned out badly, that could have been gone the other way, just by asking for clarification. I didn't really understand what you said. Can you please explain that to me? Or I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Can we please start again? Or
Mhm.
maybe I didn't catch that. Can you repeat that one more time for me?
Mhm.
Those little things, they really do tend to go a long way in terms of just making sure that you're acting responsibly in a professional situation, of course. Making sure that you repeat what you think you heard, and maybe there's some discrepancy there, or at least just confirming what you would have heard. And in your personal life, sometimes it's like, well, maybe somebody's making an assumption. Well, I'm just going to ask. I'm not going to assume. I'm just going to ask. And I would really date myself if I talked to you about the word assume, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, just ask questions. Don't be afraid. Nobody will think the worst of you. I always tell them that, people want to see you succeed. And if a question is going to help you to succeed, by all means, go ahead. I certainly don't have any problem when when someone asks me a question, maybe for the second, maybe even for the third time. That's
Mhm.
okay, as long as I realize that you're giving me your best effort, and you're truly trying to grasp or listen. I'm okay with it. If you're not listening, that's a bit of a different story. But yeah, ask questions. Get clarity. Just don't be afraid to say I don't know or I don't understand. Please repeat yourself, or can I get that one more time, please?
Yeah,
So
that is such a good piece of advice. I know a lot of people are hesitant. And so it's good to know that there are people like you that are out there going, nope, I want to hear it, want to hear your questions. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for hopping on here and giving our viewers a little insight to who you are and what you do for us. And yeah, we're just so excited that you could come on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. This has been a lot of fun. It's I normally don't like talking about myself, but this has been a lot of fun. It's been really good speaking with you.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's a wrap on this episode of Frontline Focus. We hope you enjoyed getting to know Mark and all that he does to make such a special work environment for us. Remember, here at RevForce, your milestone is our mission. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on the front lines.
Bye.